Hello and welcome to the Gooners podcast, season 6, episode 2, and it's a very special day. It is Dickie Bow Thursday, which is my favorite day of the week all of a sudden, and as such, I'm very, very pleased to welcome back to the pod my friend, the first man ever to give me a nickname that actually stuck, that wasn't vulgar or profane, a legend at Everton Football Club, a legend at Leyton Orient, a legend at West Brom, a legend at Trabzonspor. I got a bone to pick with Nottingham Forest because I never hear anyone from there call you a legend, but they should. And of course, an absolute legend for the Arsenal, Super Kevin Campbell. Welcome back to the pod.
Hi, Magic Mike. How are you, my man? You well?
I'm doing well. I'm sporting my kind of multiple identities here because it is Dickie Bow Thursday, and of course, I do love my own country. But I also love my adopted former home, my possible future home. You never know. If things don't work out with my, after 26 years of marriage at some point, I know exactly where I'm going to go. And, and so the big question for you, which we have to start off on, and it's the question everybody's asking, but I want you to answer this live on air. Is it actually going to come home?
Well, what the team have done, the team have put themselves in a good position, Mike.
It was a yes or no question.
No, you didn't say that to start. So,
okay.
Is it positively? Yes, you can say that. But there's still a lot of work to be done, Mike. This is a game of football, and one wrong bounce of the ball and it could put you on the wrong foot. So I think the way the team have performed, and, Gareth Southgate must take some credit because a lot of people have questioned his team selections and who should be playing, etc. But the team, apart from possibly the Scotland game, the team have got it right. And they've gone on and kept a clean sheet in every game, which is huge. But they've gone on and scored the most important games. And it scored in the most important games, scored important goals. And in Raheem Sterling, they've got someone who has really picked up his form.
Put some respect on that man's name. I mean, my God, he always shows up for England, as opposed to the guy he's playing next to, who doesn't always show up for England, in my opinion. Yeah. But that's for me to say. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But we are doing an open mic show. We're going to hear obviously plenty from KC, hopefully very little from me, and we see people filtering into the Red Room who want to talk to UK. K. That's KC for short, because KC isn't short enough.
Yeah, that's
I'm shortening it to K.
That's the first initial. That's all right.
Yeah. So we if you want to join the fun, you can go to www.gooneropenmic and join the Red Room. We're gonna try to kind of circulate people through, but there's plenty of room in the Red Room for you. So if you want to be part of it, join up in the Red Room and have your say. We've talked about whether it's coming home or not. We've got a lot going on. We've got the Euros coming down to the final 8 teams. We've got the transfer window on the verge of cracking wide open, with Arsenal constantly being named with people. And so, right before we welcome in our first guests live from the San Francisco Bay Area, one person who I know does not want it to come home. Kevin, and this is a bit of a clip. It's about 2 minutes long, but you'll see my prognostication abilities and a certain promise made by a certain someone on this podcast that's let's just say I think he's rooting for Ukraine, Denmark, and Belgium at this point. So here we go.
And to be honest with you, when England fans were coming out and saying it's coming home, it's in the chat already, and people are saying it and everything like that, I was saying to myself, nonsense. Every game I've watched for them, they've been absolutely terrible. They haven't been very good whatsoever. I think that Gareth Southgate is a horrible manager, absolutely horrible. And for me as well, and take this as an unbiased view, someone who has watched England for a long, long time and watches them on a regular basis, I often think that England's biggest problem is that their players walk out onto the pitch automatically thinking that they have the game won before a ball's even kicked. I think that they have a mentality issue. And for me, to overcome that is very difficult when you've got a bunch of prima donnas who think that they're the best players in the world. But look,
I agree with what you're saying, but it is coming home. Wembley, and then a game against Sweden or Ukraine, and then 2 more games at Wembley. I don't care.
England is going to get hammered by Germany. Hammered.
If there was ever a time, and look, I've been traumatized by England Germany. That my favorite World Cup was 1990, and that one ended with us losing. With us, you hear that? That one ended with a loss to West Germany that broke my heart. But so yeah, we don't have a good record against Germany, but it is the time, it is the place, Wembley, 60,000 people going like this. Going like this all at the same time.
Oh, well, yeah. Clouds.
How could and it'll send that ball sniffing, anus sniffing Joachim Low into retirement. I mean, what better of a storyline do we have?
I'm telling you, and I'll make this bet with you right now, here and now, with Hertz as our witness. All right. If England win the Euros, I will get "It's Coming Home" tattooed on me. All right, that is it. And I'm not. I don't throw things out lightly. All right, I will. No. Okay.
Oh my God! I was already rooting for England, but my God.
Well, now it's got to come home now, isn't it? Just listening to that.
We want a live tattoo session, Mike.
Yes. That's happening. That's happening on air. By the way, welcome back, Vivek. Vivek, a regular appearer on our open mic shows. Vivek, Kevin Campbell, Vivek from San Francisco area.
Hi, Vivek.
That's all I get.
Great.
I mean, yeah, I grew up watching you guys. It's been an honor to talk to you in person. Thanks for giving all the memories, first and foremost. And my question to you, Kev, over here is about Bukayo Saka. I mean, we have discussed this on Mike's pod. We have discussed on Hybrid Squad, a couple of other squads, how good that guy is. He carries the team on his own. And now, is the world realizing his potential? Like when he's performing in England, all my Manchester United friends, all my Bayern Munich friends, Barcelona friends, like, oh, he's good. Like, we've been talking that since last 18 freaking months. Where was your senses at that point of time? Like, when we follow certain other clubs and their youngsters, we do know what player is good. So I wanted to know your thoughts on this one. Like, do they just hate Arsenal for Arsenal, or do they even look certain players who are good? And it's not just my friends, entire Twitter, specifically. I shouldn't be saying this, but the English Twitter, they have just gone berserk. They didn't realize the potential of Bukayo Saka before.
Yeah, Vivek, I think it's a good point you make. For me, our problem at Arsenal has been we had such a poor season last season. When you're not up there challenging, it's easy to get caught up in the vacuum of being mid-table, and that's where we were for such a long spell. You know, you finished the season okay, but it wasn't an Arsenal season. Yeah. Didn't qualify for Europe, so opposition clubs don't really see us as someone to watch. And if Aubameyang was flying, they know Aubameyang's a world-class striker. So they would be keeping up with Arsenal because Aubameyang's doing the business and watching Arsenal. But the fact of the matter is, we've just been so poor. But we know the shining light has been Bukayo Saka. He carried the team last season. He was the shining light. And at 19 years old, he was the player of the season for Arsenal Football Club. You know, that is incredible. And coming into these Euros, nobody gave him an opportunity. Nobody really gave him a shout. We were even thinking, some Arsenal fans, that would he actually be in the final 26?
5 starts, right?
I think it's 6 starts now.
6 starts now, yeah.
After Germany now, and after Germany. And what is it, 3 or 4 man of the matches? It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. His talent level is ridiculous. But now people have seen it at international level. He's making a difference when it matters at international level. You know, our nice little secret young boy from Hale End, it's not a secret anymore, Vivek.
Is he at least now going to start getting some protection next year? But where you know, now he's an England boy, so he doesn't have to get kicked and need and constantly beaten up like people like to do to him last season?
Well, I'd like to think so, Mike. If I'm honest with you, I'd like to think that now referees realize just how special he is, and he does get the protection that he deserves. Because when you look at the likes of a Harry Kane or Grealish or whatever, you see those players, they get protected.
They get protected by referees. They get protected by the press.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be nice to have some Arsenal players actually, get. If that's something that has to be earned by playing for England, which I don't think should be the case in the first place, but if that's the way that the game is played, then by all means, let's get Smith Rowe into that team. Let's get Saka into that team.
This is one thing I will tell you, and I'll say this to you, Vivek, as well. When you play for Arsenal, it's totally different. The protection isn't usually there. If Arsenal are winning, then you get protection. That's why the club it's always them against us.
Now, Kevin, was it always that way? Because I mean, early 2000s, there you are, Arsenal starting to steal the spotlight away from Liverpool gradually, fending off Manchester United, and but it's a team mostly full of English people. A couple of you start sprinkling in people from overseas a little bit, but it's not the same. I think a lot of the Arsenal non-protection thing comes from Arsene Wenger essentially bringing in France to win the World Cup in 1998 for Arsenal. And, to me, I don't mean to sound xenophobic on behalf of a country I'm not even from, but, it almost seems like that is the genesis of Arsenal not getting protection, not from the press or from the referees. But when you were playing, was it the same way?
Welcome to being an Arsenal player, mate. Welcome. I mean, don't forget, we're talking even in 1991, we got deducted points and they're trying to stop us winning the league. It's ridiculous. Whereas a slap on the wrist, a fine is great. But to take points off you, for a brawl, it's nonsense.
Handbags.
But that's what they done to us. They done all that to us, and still they try to unsettle us. George Graham used it as a catalyst. He always said from day one, the press are not our friends. They are against us, and we have to build a them against us mentality. He said they prefer the northern teams. Even the media in London prefer the northern teams, and it's true. Until you start winning, that's when you are able to get the protection, or a little bit more.
Is it because, from the history of football, the club being based out of London, just cross the river, whatever it is, they think it's a posh club. It's that high standard. It's not common man's club. The ticket prices are too high. So that's why they give more preference to the northern clubs like Liverpool, Newcastle, things like those. Is that a factor potentially? I don't know. Not being a British, I'm just...
Vivek, what usually happens is they don't support Arsenal. So a lot of these guys don't want Arsenal to do well. It's that simple. And the ones who do support Arsenal are outnumbered by the ones who are against Arsenal.
Of course.
So, they always say it's more difficult for a London team to win the league. Why? Because they have so many derbies. There's so many rivalries happening in London on its own, let alone going outside and playing northern teams. So the northern teams do have an advantage on that front.
Yeah, and I just want to read this from James Johnstone, friend of the pod, great guy. And in case you're just listening to this rather than watching it, he says, Arsenal will never get the decisions or good press. We've been seen as a soft side for years. Plus, you're 100% right on the xenophobia thing. They hated a Frenchman coming here and winning it. I can't think that has nothing to do with it, but that was the basis of my question of, you were playing for the team prior to Arsene Wenger. You would know better than anyone else whether that was going on in 89, 90, 91.
Mike, it was worse before.
Yeah, all right.
Arsene Wenger wasn't. They didn't know who he was. So
Arsene who? The famous headline.
They didn't know who he was. So it's fine that they can question him and see what's going on. But you got to remember, years before that, they never gave Arsenal a chance. And Arsenal upset Liverpool twice. in those games. They wouldn't
Yep.
dare have fine or deduct points from Liverpool, but they did Arsenal. So you have to look at all of the things that Arsenal had to go through to get to a certain perch. So when Arsene Wenger comes in, nobody knows him. He comes in, he's different. They call him a school teacher. They do everything to kind of undermine him. But he's such a nice man. It's difficult for them to really have a go at him because he's such a nice man. And the brand of football that he's playing, they've never seen Arsenal play that brand of football before. So, he kind of won over them in that front. But let me tell you something, George Graham laid the foundation because winning them over was so difficult.
Yeah, and way to support Liverpool, the press, the very reason, or the fans of which, the very reason why we had 4, 5, 6 years of no English clubs being able to play in Europe. One more thing I wanted to cover with Vivek, and then we're going to move on to Colin in the Red Room. This is non-Arsenal related, but it's timely because it happened yesterday. Jadon Sancho to Manchester United. Vivek, and then we'll go to KC. Will he be the next Donny van de Beek, the next Angel Di Maria, or the next Bruno Fernandes? Could go one way or the other, but it's a big signing. So what do you think, Vivek?
I'm gonna say he's not gonna get the ball up and rolling, but he has the talent. He is definitely better than Donny van de Beek or even Angel Di Maria for me. I would say so. So it's going to be tough. He will light Manchester United's wings on fire. So they stole it. I would say so.
It's the one team, I guess maybe Arsenal as well, where you can have all the talent in the world, you come and it just doesn't work out for some reasons that probably have very little to do with football. Mkhitaryan, Alexis, Pogba to an extent, Van de Beek. I mean, you come to United and sometimes I guess maybe the badge is a bit too heavy. But KC, what do you think is going to happen in this situation?
He's gonna light up the Premier League.
Yep.
He's a young player, very, very talented, very gifted, and loves his football. Don't forget, I've been watching Jadon play since he was 13, 14 years old.
Was he playing with Tyrese?
Yeah, and Phil Foden and all that team. They were part of that City youngsters who were incredible, and he's got it. Trust me, he's got it. Manchester United ain't spending that money for nothing. He's going to be a superstar at Manchester United, that's for sure.
Well, people were saying Manchester United wants to go for Harry Kane with Jadon Sancho. I never thought that's going to happen. They've been after Jadon since 2 years at this point or even more. So they were very determined because it's not just the brand of Jadon Sancho that they want. It is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he came in, he said, I want this guy. It's like something what we've been discussing with Arteta. He needs his specific set of players, the brand of ball that Arteta wants to play, which is pretty much evident when I talk to a couple of United fans. They've said he's expensive, but it's Solskjaer who wants Jadon Sancho more than the Glazers.
Well, Solskjaer wants him more than Gareth Southgate does, apparently.
Yeah, look. I think with Gareth Southgate, he's making sure that the key to what Gareth Southgate does and his success is not conceding. Because at the top end of the pitch, he has the luxury to be able to bring on any one of these creative quality players. Any one of them. He could bring Grealish on, he could bring Sancho on. At times he could bring Saka on, he could bring Foden on. Look, that's an amazing array of talent you have at your hands. The key is not conceding, because if this England team has to open up, that's when there's major gaps in the England team. If they could just sit there, stay solid like they have done, and then come play themselves into the game, they're always going to create opportunities eventually because they've got too much talent at the top end of the pitch.
Vivek, it's been great to see you again, buddy. I'll be talking to you soon. The benefits of being the first one in the Red Room is until the Red Room fills up, you've got extended time. So good job there. We're going to move on. We've got a few more people waiting, and Vivek, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vivek. Cheers.
So before we have Colin in, we got a couple, topics that we can talk about. I'm just going to throw them out there. If you want to talk about them as you come in, fine. If you want to talk about something else, that's good. We've got Ben White. All of a sudden, deal's not done yet, and Man City's now apparently sniffing around. We've got Lakanga from Anderlecht. We've got the gerbil possibly pulling another one out with Renato Sanchez. We'll see whether that gains storm. But I have a little bit more we'll talk about with those. But I want to bring Colin in. Colin, welcome back to
Hey boys,
the open mic.
now.
Always a fun time when we chat with you. It's normally in the wake of a game, but it's been 6 weeks since we've played. So what's on your mind, mate?
Well, first things first. Nice to see you, Kev. Been a while.
Nice one, Colin. You're okay, mate?
Bruv, do you know what it is? I'm good. It's better than the last time we were on a live together. Do you remember?
I remember. How can I forget it, Colin? How can I forget it?
Fill me in on this. I don't remember.
Oh, no. Horrendous. Right, little backstory, right? Ryan, or the Mr. Arsenal podcast, shout out to Ryan before I forget. It was before Arsenal Tottenham. And Ryan thought it would be a good idea at that point to do an Arsenal Tottenham combined 11. Yeah.
Oh, was that Adam Crafton that did that? There was a whole thing about Adam Crafton doing a combined 11 where he picked 11 Tottenham players and then got tons of abuse over it, and there was this whole fear. Miguel Delaney got involved with that, but you're talking about something unrelated, obviously.
Well, no, similar to that, but I mean, I don't know what you think, Kev, but to me, I think we were more impartial than that clown.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, we are.
I mean, it's better than those times. But the main question that I wanted to put to you, Kev, right? Because I've been thinking this for a while. Do you think the Arsenal board now are looking at things and thinking we have to go all in with Arteta because of the heat on them from last season?
I just think the Arsenal board have realised that they've got things horribly wrong, and when that comes over a certain amount of time, Colin, because at the end of the day, one thing we do know that has been really poor has been the recruitment.
Without doubt,
the recruitment of players. The Arsenal Football Club having to pay players to leave. The fact that now we're starting to see a few of the youngsters that have come through in the Saka and Smith role having some real value, but players that we sign, we're either paying them to leave or we're offering them for such little money.
I know.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Well, because teams are starting to smell that, and they're trying to, Roma offering 14 million euro for
just say, Mike, here's what you say. They're trying to mug us off.
Yeah.
Just say it. They're trying to mug us off, mate.
They're taking the piss.
They're taking the piss, mate. That's what they're doing. But they only do that. They only do that if you haven't got your house in order. And we haven't had our house in order for a long time, Colin. But now,
I agree with
now
that.
I think the way Mikel Arteta approached the transfer window last season, I think was pretty good. The fact that Christmas time, New Year, we probably done some of our best business by getting the likes of Ozil and Mustafi and Kolasinac out the football club so that dressing room could breathe a little bit and start to get a little bit of identity in itself. Again, that stat with the last 24 games, form-wise, we're second in the league. Isn't a bad stat. It's not about...
It's my favorite stat in the world.
It's not just about 24 games. We know that. But what we want is a little bit of progress. So there is a little bit of progress shown. So now we're at this stage. They've got to go all in, Colin. They've got to. Because if they mess about, Colin, you know what's going to happen to us. We're just going to go.
I know exactly what's going to happen, mate. I've seen it down the train a million times. Like, it's 8th place finishes. We've done this twice now where, I mean, last season we somehow got 8th. I don't know how, but we did. But that's not something to be celebrated.
No, not at all.
That's something that should be looked down upon. Like, because if you look at our last few transfer windows, I still remember the 2016-17 window and how bad that was. Like, I mean, all right, looking back on it now, you can say that window was horrendous. But you know, with the players that we were linked with, we were linked to Lacazette, but we got Lucas Perez. We haggled over Mustafi and Xhaka. Like, I don't know. Like, the one player I want this summer, right? And I am not bullshitting here. I know it's unlikely to happen, but he's the one I want. Manuel Locatelli. He's the guy I want. Right?
Really good player.
Because he.
So what do you make of the rumors then? I mean, do you think we put a bid on, or is this agent games to try to get him a better deal? Out of Juve.
Well, Fabrizio said we're putting an official bid, and I have no reason not to believe him.
I have every reason not to believe him, but that's me.
Well, let's put it. Mike, Colin. Let's put it this way. Juventus apparently covet him, but Juventus don't have the money.
No, they don't.
They want to offer.
Show.
Yeah, they want to offer player plus a little bit of cash. We're cash rich. We could afford to do the deal. The one difficult thing about Italian players is most of the time they like to stay in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can somehow prize him, and it might have to take we got to offer him a king's ransom to come. But he's a quality player. You could see, even for Italy national side, when he's not there, they're just not as fluid as they were.
No,
so
and
real
Kev,
quality
I'll
player.
even go back further, before this Euros, right? He always had the talent when he was at Milan the whole time. Because when I was watching him back then, I would always look at him and go, he's a player. That kid's got it. I don't know when it'll click, but it will.
Yeah.
And now it's clicking. And now people are realizing what I've seen all along. A quality player in there. And now he's at Sassuolo and he's absolutely killing it. And the thing with Juve is they're in such a financial disarray that they literally went and begged Allegri to come back. Like that's how much of a shit show they are in right now. But at the same time, it could be the Allegri factor that maybe pushes Locatelli to Juventus.
And there's always, and that's the most difficult thing, Colin, for any suitor of Locatelli. Allegri's there. Allegri's a known winner. Look at the back-to-back titles and everything they won under Allegri. He's back at the helm. Locatelli playing for Allegri, he's his type of player, isn't he? You could see him doing it there. But again, money talks. And if Arsenal have put that bid in, and Sassuolo, who would obviously prefer the cash because they're developing players and doing pretty well, they'd love to be able to have the cash. And you just never know. It's one that at least you have a goal. At least you have a go at trying getting him.
Yeah, if we have a goal at trying to get Locatelli, then I can't complain. If we try and he ends up going to Juventus anyway, then fair enough.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Juventus, they scraped the Champions League and they were horrendous last year. But there was games where I would watch them and they'd get results over the line, like Milan at the San Siro. Like Milan were dreadful in that game. But in the reverse game in Turin, Juventus were abysmal. So it's funny because they're almost in the exact same position that we are. Maybe not, I guess competition-wise, but certainly squad-wise, because you look at their squad, it's an aging squad, Kev.
Yeah.
Aging. And you know what happens when you have to rebuild the squad once it's aging. You have to build it from the ground back up again.
Well, this is and this is another thing that Arteta's had to do, because the squad hasn't been great.
No,
let's be honest, our squad hasn't been great over the years, and we needed youth. Luckily, we got youth from within. We signed Martinelli. He came in, good young player. Got an excellent future ahead of him. But it's the Sakas of this world and the Smith Rowes of this world, really, who have made such a big difference to Arsenal. But what do they need? They need support.
Yeah,
they need support. These boys need Aubameyang to come to the party. They need Thomas Partey to keep producing the goods. He's going to be hopefully better next year. And they need the Gabriel. They need Saliba if he's going to play a part. Who knows what's happening with him, because there's rumors that he's going to get a chance. There's rumors that he's not. Who knows what's going to happen? Ben White, we need a right back. We're getting cover for Kieran Tierney at left back. Many moving parts. We're probably going to lose 4 midfielders.
Yeah,
as well. So Locatelli would just be one of probably 3 or 4. Lokonga is another one. We probably need another 2.
Yeah, if you're looking at it, Kev, you're thinking that it's probably the best idea to get your main midfield sorted as soon as, because once you get that sorted, you can kind of, just everything else will just fall into place by itself, because no good team doesn't have a strong midfield to start with. Like, you don't go from getting backup midfielders to then outlaying what your first choice midfield is. It should be the other way around.
Hey,
Colin,
guys,
in a perfect world, sorry, Mike. In a perfect world, Colin, you are right. But with the Euros going on and the way clubs will try and hold out, 1, for more money, or 2, to try and do a deal before they could shift somebody on, that might be difficult to get your starting lineup sorted out. As long as you can get them at your football club, that's the key. Get them in when you can. Quicker the better, yes. But as long as you could get them in your building, Colin, that would be good.
Yeah, that would be.
So the chat nailed it. We are in the middle of a pretty big storm here in the DC metropolitan area, and our power got cut right in the middle of it. I guess it was obvious because I think I went dark before I went away, and so everything seems to be up for the moment. But if it happens again, you couldn't ask for 2 more professional podcasters to keep the thing going. I don't think I even need to do this anymore. I'll just set up the StreamYard, give out the link, and then just let it take from there.
Let it roll.
Thank you, Kev. Appreciate it. Thanks, Colin.
Mike. Calling me professional, that's a bit of a stretch, man.
I was trying to give you I was really talking about Kev, but I didn't want to insult you to your face. So
who are you kidding? You knew what you were doing.
All right, so we're going to move on because there are some people in the chat, including some people that Kev has spoke to this very week already, and they just want to take another bite off the apple.
Nice one, Colin. Nice one.
Colin, good to see you, mate. Take care. Thanks for keeping it going.
Bye.
All right. Next in the red room is Taylor, and Taylor from LA. I believe Kev, Taylor.
Yes, I do. Yep. Spoke to Taylor a couple of times before. Hi, Taylor. How are you?
How you doing, guys? I'm spending my lunch break with 2 of my favorite Gooners.
Lovely.
See, you've just done to me what I did to Colin a few seconds ago, and I appreciate that. I truly appreciate that. So I know kind of the topics you want to get to, and you mentioned that it was a little bit about Lokonga and a little bit about it. Let me just go through one quick thing first, because yesterday was a huge day for people named Nuno.
Yeah.
First, Spurs finally end their 3.5-year coaching search by hiring ex-Wolves, ex-Porto, ex-Valencia manager Nuno Espirito Sanchez, which very disappointingly made this video that I put together completely obsolete. So we're going to show it one last time. If I can find it here. Yeah, here we go.
For what it's worth, I love.
My name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. To the I, to the no, no, no. My name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. To the I, to the no, no, no.
Say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this. No, no, say no to this. No, no, say no to this.
I don't know. I don't know if the sound kept cutting off for you guys or if it was just me with my crappy power over here. But that video took me 4.5 days to put together, just 24/7. And now they went and hired somebody. So I'm very disappointed about that. But he's not the only Nuno that's involved. We've also got Nuno Tavares, I believe. Tavares. I'm sure I'm botching these pronunciations, but Nuno Tavares, who been in and out of the Benfica squad. He is known as the backup player for Arsenal, who would be most likely to play 35 games this season. He's 21 until he's 22, because that's how it works. And he's not going to have to get used to wearing a new shirt sponsor. So that's one advantage. He hits the ground running already. Kev, you're regularly involved in covering the Spanish league, and we all know that Spain is right next door to Portugal. So you're obviously going to be the expert on this guy. What do we know about Nuno Tavares, and who's going to last longer between this Nuno and that Nuno?
I think this Nuno is going to last longer. This young man is he's a little bit raw, Mike. He's a little bit raw, but he has the attributes that could really prove to be significant in the Premier League. He's fit, he's strong, he's quick, he's got a big engine that can go up and down the left-hand side. We know he's coming as an understudy, and he's not coming in to take Kieran Tierney's spot. But again, we discussed before with Colin about the recruitment side. Getting the recruitment right is important. Getting players who you can develop and make money on if need be. His value's only going to go up. And to get players like him in could be a masterstroke, because his upside is huge.
Kev, that was part of what I wanted to ask you. So, we obviously know how reactionary Arsenal fans can be. And since it seems done and dusted that he's coming to Arsenal, and Sambi Lokonga is going to be joining him from Anderlecht, both players 21 years old. Raw is one word that is used a lot for the both of them. I don't think it helped what I'm about to say. I watched a video of us playing Benfica, and Saka roasted Tavares for one of the assists for a goal. Now, we see a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people in the Arsenal-verse that are not happy with these and think that it's a bit of underwhelming in both cases. I, on the other hand, have been begging and pleading for this team to sign young players who can develop into something. We went with Lichtsteiner, didn't work. We went with Willian, didn't work. Now we have two 21-year-olds coming to Arsenal, and people are not satisfied with that. So it seems. Where do you stand on this? I know you just sort of said you think Tavares will grow into at least a sellable asset. What about Sambi Lokonga?
Yeah, I think both players have the upside far outweighs any worries about, can they make it? Because they both have talent. And let's be honest, we've seen Bukayo Saka roast most people he comes up against. So it's no hardship if Bukayo Saka roasts you, that's for sure. Both players, I believe, have the right attributes. They kind of fit the mold. They're young. They've got big engines. They've got the right attitude to come in and develop and improve. I think that's the key, improve. And let me tell you this about Arsenal fans as well. Arsenal fans moan when we get linked to a veteran left back with Premier League proven. Why are we going down that route? Now we go down the other route of a 21-year-old who will be happy to be an understudy to Kieran Tierney. They're still not happy.
So we're the only one that would have made people happy is signing Ben Chilwell to back up Kieran Tierney. I mean,
yeah, but even then they would have said, why are we spending that much money?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't win.
Demsek asked if he can play on the right as well as the left, or I'm going to amend the question to: can he play both at the same time?
Yeah, I believe he can. I believe he can play right and left
in the same game.
Well, maybe he might have to. Knowing Arsenal's luck.
Well, right. Well, we can start him at right and left, and with that extra player, we can put in a second goalie. So,
oh man, Mike.
Well, okay. And my last question, because I do have to run. We just spoke about Locatelli a bit earlier. I think it's sort of smoke and mirrors. I think this is driving up his price. I can't see him coming to Arsenal, although I love it. But I've noticed lately the rumors that have been circulating about adding a creative player to our midfield outside of an additional, like DM type player next to Party, it's kind of gone quiet lately. Do you think that there's something that we don't know about that's happening? Do you think we have eyes on a player sort of similar to last year and we just are waiting to get it over the line?
Yeah, I think Arsenal saw the difference that Odegaard made in the team. And having someone who could really link that midfield to the attack really made a difference for us at times last season. And he wasn't even our player. He was a lone player. So for half a season, Odegaard done pretty well. I think Arsenal know what they need. And there are certain players that I believe, Arsenal can't afford not to go and get. And the fact that it's gone quiet maybe worries Arsenal fans, but I truly believe Mikel Arteta and Edu and the board, the people who are in the positions of power, know what they need to do. They need to go and get the quality that is needed in that midfield. And that's holding kind of DM, ball playing DM, and the creative number 10 type player.
Well, that's why I love you, Casey. Always making me feel optimistic.
No problem. Yeah. No problem,
He's good for a pickup. That's what Dickie Bow Thursdays are all about. Taylor, I will be seeing you shortly, won't I?
We're going to get wild in Vegas, baby. That's for
sure. We're going to get wild in Vegas for sure, man. I can't wait. So many people that I haven't had, that I know that I'm going to finally get to spend some time with. So it's going to be awesome, Taylor.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks for joining us.
See you both.
Taylor.
All right. The rain has stopped, so I think the power outages will stop. So I'm going to bring in somebody now who you spoke to just a couple days ago. It was a great conversation, even though none of my comments in chat got brought on screen because the guy doesn't rate me at all. He's half my age, but he acts twice my age. And so Tom Canton, welcome to the open mic. We're giving you an opportunity to show your podcasting chops to the world. Let's see what you do with it.
Watch me mess this up famously. Yes. How we doing, boys?
Good to see you, Tom. What could possibly be on your mind that you didn't get off your chest with KC on the Gooner Talk TV earlier this week?
I'm just going to ask KC if what his favourite ITK moment of the summer so far is. What's your favourite fake rumour that you've heard or seen on the socials?
Well, I've seen one today. I don't know if you've seen it. That we could sideline Messi. Because he's free now, isn't he?
What?
He's a free transfer.
Two impactful free transfers that I think we should go after are that Messi guy, because we can pair him up with Leo Messo. And then there's this guy that's like German of Turkish descent. He's a free agent. You could get him for nothing right now. You pay him some wages. He won't play that much. But this is the guy from Fenerbahce I think we should really look into.
I think, listen, one of them boats have sailed, and I think one ain't even left the port yet. They're never getting over the line. Messi's one made me chuckle, to be honest, because I just think that he's going to end up staying at Barca.
You always see a tweet from, and I don't know, there's a reason I'm using this club as an example, but there's always a tweet from like a Scunthorpe or something like that. That's like, we are officially pulling out of the running for Lionel Messi or something like that. I'm getting the bird flipped to me from someone in the red room right now who's going to be joining us in just a second. But some crap. Why would you live is Scunthorpe a nice place, Casey? Or is
it's all right, but it's not good enough for Lionel Messi. Come on, let's be honest. After Barcelona, he's not going to go there.
Welcome to the pod, Mike Scunny from Scunthorpe. We're gonna keep Tom on, and we got Mikey and Aston left to come on, unless Aston just jumped off. So come on back if you can. But in any case,
it's going to be nice and not swear. But now you're really pushing it from me.
I mean, you're an Arsenal supporter. I don't talk about Potomac Falls, Virginia all the time as being this great place. I talk about London. So.
I don't talk about it. I don't talk about my hometown being a great place at all. But good evening, champions. How are we all on this Dickie Bow Thursday?
Hi, Mike. You're right, mate.
Hey, all right, buddy.
So Tom, we didn't. I don't know if we actually got to the answer about the ITK thing. You've been on an ITK rampage, which is something I can empathize with. But I will say that based on today's growing rumors and some people with little blue check marks. Are starting to put this together. I think we need to start paying attention to this. June 24th, that is over a week ago. Player under age 25, not somebody on the radar. Intriguing move, only final details. Wages agreed. Soon all outlets will be reporting a Premier League experienced midfielder. He's out of the Euros now. So what do you make of these rumors that are absolutely true and first reported by the Football Gerbil about Renato Sanchez?
Oh man, if this turns out to be true, I will be so annoyed. I will be so
That's how I felt about Thomas
so
Partey.
annoyed.
I'm like, I want that guy on Arsenal so bad, but I will love it if he doesn't sign just for that very reason.
It's one of those where you're like, oh, and the thing is, I've said time after time doing this kind of the ITK rater, which is a complete joke, by the way. I mean, some people take it very seriously, very seriously.
That's why it's so funny.
I've had a couple of Arsenal podcasts call me out for saying that I am like throwing their name through the dirt. So it's a joke. Let's calm down. But at the end of the day, like a broken clock is right twice a day. Although when I tweeted that, the Arsenal fans did very quickly come back at me and say, "What if it's a digital clock?" You can't say anything on Arsenal Twitter without someone trying to catch you out. But I mean,
you're going to have them starting to track your location like they do for new signings flying over.
The thing that makes me I was about to say, Tom, the thing that makes me laugh about it is look at the transfers we have been linked to over the years and look how stupid they have been. Like, can you remember the David Trezeguet was going to get him at one point? Benzema has been coming to Arsenal for the last 15 years.
Lamar for 92 million.
Higuain as well.
Higuain, and he ended
I think Higuain was probably legit. I just think that
he was coming to London and he ended up going to Chelsea. That was the best one.
Mike, he was never, and I repeat, never coming to Arsenal.
You don't think that was maybe even leaked by Arsenal in the wake? Because that was right in the wake of the Luis Suarez 40 million and £1 bid. So I mean, you know that a lot of these rumors start with the club. You know that, right?
Mike, if we could have got Luis Suarez, why the hell would we want to be messing with Higuain? Because we're so stupid to bid 40 million plus £1. I mean, come on.
There's a couple of people mentioning in the chat there. It's like Julian Draxler is one. He's been linked for the last 20 years. I don't even know how old he is, but he's been there for that long.
You got to give a shout out to Mems for his Karim Benzema summer. That was the one when he went oof all the way to Miami to confirm the deal. Do you remember that summer?
Yeah, Mems is a pretty good troller of ITKs. They had one I think he recently trolled people with a comment from Kieran Tierney about how he didn't care about what the wages were in his contract. He just wanted to sign, and everybody ran with that as a legitimate comment, but it wasn't. It wasn't I mean, it was the type of thing that you could imagine him saying, but it wasn't a real comment. And that one ran with legs. So it's my favorite time of the year and my least favorite time of the year, all wrapped up in one. But it's good enough reason not to overreact to every single thing that you hear, or to just look for news, whether it's true or not, just to satisfy your need for news. But Scunny, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I did put a question in the comments before I come and join Dom, but the one that's got me so far, to stay out of the transfers and everything else, I just like the VAR during the Euros has been so smooth. The refereeing's been fantastic. What do you guys think to it? Does it put the Prem to shame for the last year's atrocities?
Let me go on this one, Mike. Let me go on this one. Scunny, you are 100% right. The Premier League, in all of their wisdom, Scunny, decided to do it totally different to how they do it in Europe. Now, why the Premier League feel that they are above everybody else, I have no idea. I covered La Liga last season, and you see it's the same throughout Europe. There's an incident, the referee gets it in the air, and he goes and checks, and he gets the... Whether you agree with the decision or not, he goes over and he makes a decision and sticks to it, which is all we've wanted to happen from day one. Because you still can question some of the things that happen, but it doesn't take as long. It's not as drawn out, and it's not as the people behind the VAR was starting to get blame in the end when it's VAR altogether. So whether it's the actual lines, whether it's the actual people who make the decisions, the whole VAR thing is different to how they do it in Europe. And Europe have proved that they got it right. And hopefully the Premier League are joining up the way Europe do it and are going to do that for next season because it makes such a difference.
I'll tell you what, the one thing the MLS does right is VAR. I mean, they as soon as there's a questionable call, the referee runs over to the sideline. There's none of this standing around, waiting around, pointing to your ear because you want people to understand that you're not just having you're not just having a moment. You're actually listening to something. And while the time to run over to the side and look at it is part of that, it's not that on top of everything else. And it's, so it seems to work. I haven't really been to too many games or watched too many games to see it, but I never hear a complaint. And in Germany, you never hear a complaint.
It's just because I don't really watch much from Germany and Italy, and I haven't really been following it this season, last few seasons. But after watching games in the Euros, it's so smooth, and you can tell there's a completely different feeling behind it, and the crowd are getting behind it. You score a goal, you can actually feel the cheers, you can feel the stadiums going, and watching England v Germany, you could see 60,000 people were loving it, and that's what you want. You don't want 4 minutes to check for an offside if his pinky is just slightly off there, so he can't.
Tom, what's the downside to feeding the video that the referee's watching in the sideline monitor onto the big screen so the crowd can at least participate? I mean, I know that they're going to have a say, but referees have to deal with that all the time. So what would be the problem with that?
Because I think that if it's like for a red card and there's a bad challenge and it goes up onto the screen, referees have gone on record and said many times that the crowd atmosphere can affect their decision making. Refs that have retired have gone on into the media and on record saying that the atmosphere in the ground can affect the way that they make decisions. So if a bad tackle or a tackle of any kind is put up on the screen and it's you're a ground where the home team's player has been taken out, that reaction by seeing it on the screen could technically influence maybe the referee. So there is that.
But that happens throughout the game anyway, and the referee. I mean, the referee is not going to call a penalty.
In one instant moment.
Referee's not going to call a handball just because.
I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm just suggesting an idea as to why maybe they choose not to. Because if the crowd's influencing psychologically the decision of the referee, then that may be why they choose not to do it. I would be absolutely fine for certain instances to see that go up on the screen, at least so that the fans know what's going on. I mean, I was at Wembley for the Italy-Austria game in the last 16, and of course, Arnautovic's goal was ruled out for offside, and it was basically 90% Italy fans, everyone around me, besides myself, wearing a Red Bull Salzburg shirt. But at the same time,
I saw your picture, and I was going to put it up here as the last time we ever saw Tom Canton alive. But
when that goal went in from Arnautovic, all of the few Austria fans that were there obviously went like celebrating everything, and then there was this pause, and genuinely no one in the ground knew what was going on. I was obviously on WhatsApp to people watching the game, and they were telling me that he's a marginally offside, but no one in the ground had a clue what was going on until it was eventually ruled out. So I feel like those moments are what they need to iron out a little bit more, just so the crowd in the ground are more. I mean, do you remember the Crystal Palace game back in 2019 when Socrates scored a 2-2 equaliser, I think it was? Myself and a friend were at that game, and I remember the whole crowd went absolutely mental when Socrates scored, and then we were sitting there waiting, no idea why he was off. And then it turned out it wasn't even a foul in the build-up, was it?
The foul on Chambers?
Foul on Chambers, I was there as well. We were in the pit. We were in the we were in the pub, you remember, before the game, Tom?
Yes, we were. Yeah, we were. With judges and that. So
that would have been a 3-2 win, that goal. And that was the one where I think we scored twice, like Socrates and Luis scored in the first 10
as well.
Oh, God, yeah. we could talk about him, but we've only got 5 minutes left. And as such, I'm going to bring in our final open micer. I'm going to keep everyone else in here. So we're going to have I almost said fivesome, but
Jesus.
when I if you started watching this pod in 2016, you saw me with a full head of hair. Then you started to see me with the comb over, as Owl used to call it. Then I just decided to take it all off. Nobody complained. I'm complaining because what's happened here is devastating to me. Aston, you're entitled. You control your own body, but why did you get rid of it?
Well, I figured I needed to clean up for the show. You know what I mean? It was getting a little wild.
What about the other 24 times that you've, come on, man. All right, look, enough about your hair. It's good to see you. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you again down in Orlando in a few weeks. When the Arsenal come, some good stuff planned. Gooners versus Cancer is gonna have a presence. We will be finding out in a week or two whether the Gooners podcast will be official credentialed media or just a fan acting a fool. So Aston, we got about 5 minutes left with Kev, and then he's going to have a lozenge before his 9 p.m. Podcast on the Highbury Squad, which is Kevin Says. So make sure to go over there and watch that at 9 p.m. But Aston, what's on your mind?
Man, I don't know how you do it, Kev. First thing I want to say is, can we talk about the drip on both you and Kev with the Dicky bows? Brilliant.
I have a question. Yeah, I think Daniel Robert was asking Tom to do a tactical breakdown on my bow tie. But I am who I am, man.
But what I actually want to talk about, I'll do what I think nobody's actually talking enough about, is we get obsessed with these transfers of players, right? And everybody loves players because they're the ones that you see on the pitch, they're the ones you see on the field. No one's actually bringing up the fact that Mikel Arteta came in with an incredibly limited staff. And one of the things I was actually looking for over the summer is, how are we going to improve our backroom staff? How are we going to change around some of these coaches? You're seeing some of the changes happening in the academy. Do we know, is there any more plans to bring any more coaches into the side, maybe more experienced coaches, maybe change things up in the back room a little bit?
Not at the moment, not that I know of. I think Mikel Arteta has his the people that he wants around him. And it very rarely happens that you change them anytime soon. The key to it is they believe in what they do. Our issue has been we haven't had the right players. We haven't had the right players in order to dive that plan that they have. Now they have the opportunity through Edu, through Garlic and all these guys, to go out and get the players that's going to make a difference in our team. Because let's be honest, at the Emirates last season, we were woeful, and we talk about the Emirates being quiet, etc. But the home fans do make a difference. They do. The Emirates is usually a lot tougher to go and get a result. Burnley were beating us at home. Villa were coming there beating us at home. So I'm not going to put that down to backroom staff, although I'm sure there will be changes because of people going like a Steve Bold, etc., in development, buying a lot more younger players, 21 years old, players who are probably going to have to develop at some stage, and they're upgrading that part of the backroom staff for a reason.
And I think the other thing that I think is on everyone's mind is, when the heck are we getting rid of Willian?
It's not happening now.
Well, I don't think
physically possible.
Well, I don't think. I think his move to Inter Miami is broken down.
Yeah.
Because of wages or whatever. And this is the difficult part of football, where it hasn't worked out for him, but it's a business, and you've got to treat it like a business. And clubs, then, when the player wants to leave, then the club who suits him then wants to play hardball with Arsenal. Don't forget, we've had to pay a lot of players to leave. Do Arsenal go and start doing the same thing with Willian? I don't think they do. And then, it's a rock and a hard place for Arsenal at times. But like I've said before, the recruitment part of Arsenal has been poor. So this is just another remnant of the past kind of coming back to haunt us.
So Sassuolo would be a nice destination for Willian, I think. Sassuolo for Locatelli, or Willian for Locatelli.
I heard there was a swap with Messi.
Straight
I
swap.
don't know if that's still true. It's true.
Exactly. Well, you can't swap with a team that doesn't own the player anymore. Daniel Robert.
You can if you really force it upon him.
Daniel Robert in the chat of many a podcast. I know you're accustomed to seeing his name, Tom. He says a lot of funny stuff. He says a lot of absolute bullocks. He might have asked the best question I've ever seen in a question before. So, KC, there's a job opening that recently went on, the internet, and I actually think it would be perfect for you. We'd miss you on the podcast, but Kev, can you please sign up for the U23 manager role? I know that would kind of be like, I don't know if you and Steve Bold have the thing where like you wouldn't date the ex-girlfriend of the person that you're mates with or something, but
I wouldn't.
Who would be better at the U23 manager? A man who's been in that role, who's excelled in that role, who grew out of that role, who's incredible with young footballers. I mean, is there a better person suited for that than you?
Yeah, there is. I tell you, I'm being very serious.
Is it Scunny?
I'm being very serious here. The problem with the under-23s role now is very rarely do the first team players actually play in the under-23s, because the under-23s now usually is made up of youth team players, young youth team players, and players who aren't quite good enough to make it into the first team squad. So you're on a hide into nothing. And the teams that they play against teams who don't have first team players in it. So it's all much of a muchness. The key to getting and developing players through those under-23s is they have to be more competitive. They have to be playing and training with first team players. But it's just something in football now where your big stars don't even play reserve games.
Would that have been a great opportunity had Arsenal qualified for the Conference League? Would that have been something where, if you had a say in it, you would have said take the U23s and give them some experience that's different from the, PL2?
Something different, but if I'm honest with you, I just think the Conference League is a sham. If I'm honest with you, I'm much happier not being in Europe now, and we get a chance to rebuild and bed some players in, because we're going to have to sign quite a few players, and we're going to need to be able to train them and work the team, work the squad, work the system through the week in order to get it right for a weekend.
Well, if you ever reconsider, I will come over and go to every. I'll be at Meadow Park every Friday night or whatever it is, and be ready for those games. So we're gonna wrap things up. A couple quick announcements. As I said before, Highbury Squad starts in less than an hour. To go to Highbury Highbury Squad on YouTube. Kevin and Soph, who is young, spry Soph, not, as Tom called her, good old Soph. That was bang out of order. I forgot to upload the clip of you saying that. You'd probably nick me for a copyright violation. So yeah, I mean that was just rude. I love Soph and I love Kevin Says, which is what today's show is. So you'll calm your vocal cords for about 45 minutes, and then you'll be on fire again. I'll be in the chat.
Plenty a bottle of wine behind him, aren't you there, Kev?
That's all one problem. They're all empty, Scuddy.
Just a decoration. Too late.
If Kev ever had me over to his studio, those bottles wouldn't even be on the wall anymore, because I had to checked each one out and but
rinse them. Squeeze them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or I would have just spilled the entire thing on Tom's shirt. Which is the other thing I'm known for doing in front of Kev. So yeah, all the Goonies, take off your Goonie hat and become squatties for the hour and roll over there. Also, Las Vegas. We had Taylor on earlier, who's going to be in Las Vegas with the Football Fest 2021. Sophie's going to be there. Tons of people are going to be there.
Aston,
Elliot,
you going, Aston?
Yeah.
You going to Vegas?
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas.
Damn, I don't know if I knew that. All right, so I'll see you in Orlando and Vegas. Scunny, are you going to Vegas, or are you hanging out in Scunthorpe?
Yeah, fuck it. I'll go.
I wasn't inviting you. I was just asking if you're going. You can't spell Scunthorpe without a specific thing. But anyway, so Vegas football.
Yep. I was going to say, I lived in Vegas for like 3 years. Of course I'm going back. If my Gunner family is going to be there, I'm going to be there.
I learn something new about you every single day, man. Football Fest 2021. That's FUTBOL Fest 2021, so that the wild Yanks over here don't think it has something to do with what do they call that, handball? What do you call it when you don't want it to be called football? I don't know.
American football.
Well, yeah, I hate calling it that too. But anyway, so it's Football Fest 2021. I may be about to lose my power again, and if I do, it's been great. But yeah, there's a Pacquiao fight that Saturday. There's WWE SummerSlam that Saturday. So hotel room costs at the Wynn. The room block's gone. It's pretty expensive, but there's a lot of other places that you can stay, and it's just going to be a great time. Arsenal Vision podcast will be there. Pretty much everyone from that podcast will be there. I'll be there. Sophie will be there. We'll be doing live pods. Stats Bomb will have a discussion about identifying players in the transfer market and why Arsenal can't do it. I added that last part. And of course, we're going to be watching Arsenal and Chelsea at 8:30 in the morning, Las Vegas time, which is like you should have lunch by then already. It's so late in the morning, and it'll be a great, great time. So go to footballfest21.com. Arsenal will be in Orlando in 3 weeks. Aston and I will be gallivanting around in the 150-degree heat. And it's been great having you guys on. Thanks to Vivek. Thanks to Colin. Thanks to Taylor. Tom, anything you want to plug? Do you do any kind of media situation or just come on to this
shows for a while now? So no, you can check us out.
And by a while, he means 2.5 hours.
Yeah, every day. Every day.
So yeah, the Gooner Talk TV. You are coming into your own as one of Arsenal's, if not the top content provider, and I mean that genuinely. I normally take the piss out of you, but you're
not
killing
always. It. Not normally, just consistently every single day. Yeah.
but then once every 3 or 4 weeks, I'll actually tell you. You know what? All kidding aside, you're actually killing it, and you are. Scunny, you're on a podcast as well.
I haven't been for a long time, but
I meant right now you're on a podcast.
Oh, I'm on a podcast right now, yeah. Yeah. Can I just mention as well, just before you taking the mick out of Scunthorpe, there is quite some famous people from Scunthorpe. Ian Bothman, he actually played cricket for England and he played footy for Scunthorpe.
I've actually heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, Graham Taylor, the old ex-England manager, he was from Scunthorpe. I think Kevin Keegan played for Scunthorpe at once in his life as well.
He did, yeah.
So, yeah, you can... I'll give you the finger, but I can't. I'm being nice.
Yeah, you did that. You did that privately before you were on camera. So yeah, here's the link for footballfest2021.com. By the way, if you want to get involved. Thanks for coming on, Scunny, and Aston. 98% of the Aston I saw last, but he's 105%.
Looking sharp, Aston. Looking sharp.
looking sharp. Look. I make fun of people that I'm jealous of, and so Tom,
you're just mad I still have my full head of hair.
Yeah, I mean you shaved all your hair off, and you still have 80 times as much as I do. So, in any case, good to see you again, buddy. Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Anything else you want to plug?
No, just hope to see everybody in Orlando. We have a lot of great things planned. I know you were talking about Gooners versus Cancer, which will be great. There looks like we're going to do a pub crawl on the day before the event, so it'll be a great time for everyone.
Sweet, it absolutely will. So beautiful. Thank you, Kev, for joining and making this the podcast that it was today. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you in another 45 minutes or so.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
All right. So with that, we will play our fast forward season 6 intro video because there's so much to look at there. You're going to have to watch it very, very carefully. But thank you all, and come on, you Gooners.